Wait until
The cover is sports. Let's go.
Hello and welcome everyone. Comment in Sports Network SNS Bills Talk. Here, Lawrence Foster, Corey Dungan. Happy to be with you on this Tuesday evening, despite how the Bills played on Sunday night. I didn't even want to do the show, but we're here for you guys as always. Dr. Dungan, how we doing on this Tuesday night?
I can't wait to dive into it. A lot of complaining tonight.
There'll be a lot of complaining for sure. So it was good for anybody who did miss it. The Bills dropped their first game of the year. The last undefeated team in the NFL fell 23-20 to the Patriots. Three turnovers, tons of penalties by the Bills. Uncharacteristic play by a lot of players. Just a couple days now out from that loss. Just how are you feeling about the team overall and just the game in general?
It's one of those games for which it's like, even though we lost, I still feel like we were the better team. It was just those critical turnovers, as you said. And honestly, the thing that I'm most annoyed about is that we stopped our home win streak. It was like 14 games or something in a row that we had won at home, and that's over. So I'm like, that was honestly like, after the loss sort of settled, and the next day I woke up, I was like, oh, that's actually super lame. Like to lose it like that. But I don't know. I guess if you're going to have one of these losses to figure out, the things that you really need to work on, I suppose it's better to have it early than later.
I think it was more of like in our predictions for Come On in Sports, I had the Patriots winning that game. And it was because of just how the last 2 weeks before that against Miami and New Orleans, the issues that ended up costing the Bills is what just reared its head. And they played a team that was on point enough to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, like to learn from it, but there's some things the Bills, I don't know if you can unlearn at this point. And I'll talk about this first. We'll have a lot to talk about, but the tackling was atrocious for the Bills. And in today's NFL, I don't know how you improve on that because you can't have live hitting us pretty much throughout most of the season.
All right.
The Bills have the worst tackle rate in the NFL. So I just don't know how that gets better.
Yeah, that was how Stephon Diggs was able to eat us alive, because either the typically the first guy either couldn't make the tackle because he just didn't do a good job, or what happened a lot is like it. I feel like it happened 3 or 4 times when Diggs would catch the football and then he would wheel back and then move forward. Mm-hmm. He did that to Trey at least 3 different times. And so it's just, guys putting themselves in better position. I think pursuit angles is something that they could, watch on the alt 22 to, hey man, like you took this angle, you got to take a better, you're not as fast as you think you are. Because that was oftentimes it, where they were just like trying to catch up and they were taking this angle and they slowly had to extend it out to try to catch them. So, but I'm with you. Tackling is something that we never really had to think about too much in the past. Guys were usually pretty short tacklers. Bernard, I felt like that was something he was really strong in. He was a sure tackler. Milano, same thing. But Bernard has missed quite a few tackles that's led to big gains, and it's frankly, to me, the biggest problem is tackling in the secondary. When the safeties come up, there's a lot of these shoulders that come in and they don't blow up their legs. That's like no one's wrapping up. So yeah, how do you fix it? I don't know, other than just say wrap up, use these things and take them down.
Yeah, and I think you're right about the secondary. For a long time, the Bills fans and us have been spoiled by the secondary play we've had. Even if you go back to the days of Stephon Gilmore and Ronald Darby, like always had high quality, like Jarris Bird, Aaron Williams, high quality. And now we're seeing kind of how the rest of the NFL has lived of like Benford. Yeah, he has a rough year, but one of the top ones. But aside from that, it's been real rough, and that's how a lot of the league has felt. So now we kind of feel that, and you talk about like the tackling, like I think of Bishop and Rapp just like they just come flying from the safety position without any sort of like, you were taught in football, like, all right, I'm going to stomp going down to like stomp the finger in a tackling position. They're just flying down there without anything like that. Big play Diggs had towards the end of the game. Bishop just went flying at him. Diggs did that little loop thing, like you said, which he did almost every time. Then 20 yards later, they're down at the goal line. So we're fundamentally weak, which is just weird to think about and say on defense.
Yeah. No, they come in as these missiles. And when the missiles hit, sure, it's oh man, great hit, awesome play. But when they miss, it is, and it feels like the misses have happened as equal, if not more times than the hits, and it just costs us every time.
Yep. And then, I mean, I don't think can be understated about Milano either. The first half, he played pretty much the entire first half. The Bills defense allowed 3 points and played as good as they have since the Jets game. Like I take that play and then he's out in the second half, and all of a sudden Drake May has one incompletion and just lights it up. So like, I know we always slam Milano, but like, the difference I see is like he didn't play, and like he masked a lot of things. I think of like being able to keep, because I didn't see May getting out of the pocket like he did in the first half, like he did in the second. So is that a Milano thing, like where he was the one that was kind of keeping him hemmed in? I didn't watch enough. I didn't watch any film afterwards to find out if that's true. But it's just weird that as soon as Milano goes down again, the defense just went to the crapper in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, he is I think our best cover linebacker too.
Yeah.
So it's, he does a lot of things. He does a lot of things well. And yeah, I know I mentioned him earlier, and I think it was just more so in my head. I was conflating bad defense and Milano, but no, you're actually right. When he went down, that's when things started to go awry. But that's just sort of the problem that we've had for the last few years. We can't count on him to be healthy. And this is where you and I were texting about today, but we see a team like the Ravens making trades to try to improve the defense. I mean, to me, it is very clear that the linebacker position has been, I mean, especially if Milano's hurt again, is a place that needs some help, and then something in the secondary. Okay, like the secondary is such a liability. Trey, man, I love Trey. Few people love him as much as I do, but he is just not the same player anymore. He was the guy that he's turned back into the guy that we released, unfortunately. And it's just, but it comes down to who can we put back there, right? Strong is hurt, right? Maxwell is, he's on IR. Maxwell still has not come back, and it's, we're going on the 6th week of the season. And so we don't really have any, like, we're forced to put him out there. And so to not try to improve that position, to me, it's mind boggling. Like, we don't have to wait until week 8 to fix a problem that we know we have. The time is now, because we should have been 7-0 going into Kansas City. But at this point, honestly, I can see us dropping another one of these games that we're not going to lose to the Panthers, but Atlanta, I mean, they are a team that they have a great run game, a decent tight end, decent receivers. And so I can see us losing that game too.
Yeah, easily. And I mean, it's on the road. They just revealed they're wearing their throwbacks.
Yeah.
So we know what happens with alternate uniforms. We lay an egg.
And our uniform, I hate those uniforms. I never want to see them again. I can't believe that they spent 2 years working on those things, and I didn't like them when they revealed them. And then once they were on wearing them, it's like, we're going to do it the first week in October when it was like 60 or 70 degrees outside, and they just look terrible. So I have just, and we lost. So burn those things. I never want to see them again.
I do like the helmet. I thought the helmets were pretty sharp, but yeah, the uniforms overall, no, definitely not. I had a few friends who just aren't really big football fans, but they know I'm Bills fans, who text like, your uniforms, I thought the Lions were playing. is what they texted me.
Yeah.
But anyway, away from the uniforms, the D line too. Like my good, like if the missed tackles in the D line, there's a couple plays right at the end where I'm like, if they just make a play, Daquan Jones has Drake May all but sacked and can't take him down.
Yeah.
The whole game changes there. Diggs doesn't get that 12-yard catch. That's like an 8-9 yard loss.
Yeah.
We're in the 2-minute timeout, so it's 2nd and 19. Like that whole ball game changes by that. And then even on the last play before the field goal, Joey Bosa had a chance for a 7-yard sack, which turns that field goal into a 59-yard field goal.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's tackling across the board. And I don't know if that's what McDermott's like, being like, all right, we're there to make the play, we just can't tackle. If that's like the only saving grace of, like, if we can convert 50% of the tackles we missed into actual tackles, is the defense that much better?
Yeah, but I mean, sure, yes. I think the answer to that question is an obvious yes. If we're the leading the NFL in missed tackles, and if we make half of those, then yes, I don't think we lose that game. But the problem is that 5 weeks in, we are still missing tackles, and I don't see it getting really any better. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we've belabored essentially every level of the defense, and it was just an overall, even though they only scored 23 points, it shouldn't have been as much, especially given the fact that all the other receivers combined had, I think, as many catches and yards as Diggs.
I think they had 127 and Diggs had 140.
Yeah. So it's just like you had to stop essentially one guy.
And I mean, they did a pretty decent job against the run too.
Sure.
So I think about a couple weeks ago, I think you and I talked about how, like, I'm not a fan of McDermott, but I think it was you commenting like, oh, he takes the one, like whatever you're good at and takes it away. Like, how could the Bills not figure out a way? Okay, Diggs is the only person beating us. Let's figure out a way to make Mac Hollins or somebody beat us.
Yeah.
So that just baffled me that they never made that adjustment. And like Diggs got better as the game went on. Like we got worse. And to me, I kind of felt a little bit like during parts of that game, like, well, this is what teams feel like playing Josh a lot of the time. Where it looks all right, we got this guy dead to rights, like there's nothing here, and then boom, he makes a play. So I think it's a lot like a few years ago when everyone started crowning Mac Jones and the Patriots, and then we look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Patriots are going to fall back to earth here soon. They're going to have teams that play smart enough to turn the ball over 3 times. But I don't think the offense is without blame either. And go to Joe Brady on this. Sean McDermott even called him out after the game about we're too cute. I think that first drive, the Dawson Knox end around, which makes 0 sense in the world. Like that just set the tone for the entire game, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about Brady doing crap like that.
He does it all the time.
Like at what point, like McDermott saying that, I think is a big thing. It was kind of what he did before we got rid of Dorsey. So do you think that changes anything with Brady, with McDermott saying that out loud to the media, or is it going to be status quo moving forward?
I think it has to, right? I mean, McDermott is very much, I think the Bills operate, they keep things in-house. And so for him to say it isn't because of this game. It's been building, right? I think it's been building where like we've had these last couple of games that we've won, but it's been much closer than it needed to be, and drives stall, and we put the defense in at times challenging positions because we call some of these stupid plays. Like everyone knew, like when Josh did that design quarterback run, I think it was on 4th down. I knew it. I called it the second he lined up. I said to my wife, I said, Ainsley, here it is. Here's that stupid, design quarterback run. Like, and if I can pick it out, sure as well that their defense knows what's coming. That play does not work. It should be thrown out of the book. Okay. We didn't run Cook nearly enough. Okay. He's not involved. Like he wasn't involved enough. And then, yeah, like those stupid screen, like the only one who should be doing those plays are Shakir. Okay. Like he's the only, it's because, and the only reason is because he breaks tackles.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, we can't run a screen unless somebody can break 1 or 2 tackles. And so either get better blockers. I don't know, but they should be only done to Shakir because, yeah, the play calling, as we've said, I feel like every single week, just some of these head scratcher plays that kill drives. Just, and we're already battling penalties the entire game. We don't need plays that are also drive killers. So, yeah, no, and because didn't we also do a flea flicker too? That
yeah, they did a flea flicker that like almost got sacked doing it.
Yeah, and so I think this week, given our opponent, yeah, I wouldn't imagine we're going to see too many more of these. Sure, is he going to run screens? Yes. But that end around with Dawson Knox where, it's likely hey, they'll never see this coming. I'm going to do it with our tight end who has a little bit of speed. Yeah. Okay. Except for he's not used to doing it. And, or he didn't know it was coming. Like, I don't even know what happened, whether or not Josh was supposed to keep it or give it to him or whatever. But yeah, if that play doesn't happen, I feel like we win the game because it's, as you said, it sort of just set the tone.
Yep. And then the Bills are playing behind the sticks losing the field position battle that entire first half. Like we were starting, and that was having the Saints game, but yeah, Joe Brady definitely needs a change. And I think some people I saw were pointing out Josh was missing a few things. I think Josh did what he did in terms of extending those last few plays and leaving the pocket before it was dirty, just because the rest, his receivers were not getting open. So he did that as a chance. Okay, this is maybe the best chance we have to get somebody open. And of course, the one time he does at the end, Samuel actually does break open before that. So people are blaming Josh. I don't blame Josh. This is a culmination of the entire game. Nobody getting open. Josh Palmer, who Bean was pounding the table oh, why you question our wide receivers? We signed Josh Palmer. 12 catches in 5 games, 112th in the league. And then last year we bring in Curtis Samuel. What's he done in 2 years? Which leads me to our next topic is just, at what point did the Bills turn their eyes on Brandon Bean? What have you put together? You spend all this money on pieces that don't do what they're supposed to do. All the money, draft picks, free agents on defense, they crap the bed every single year. He trades up for these guys. Oh, we need to have this guy. TJ Sanders doesn't even play. And when he's in there, he's invisible. Landon Jackson doesn't play. Healthy scratches all but last week. And even that, I don't think he played last week.
I don't think so either.
But when do you think Bean starts to get some of this vitriol that other people in the organization get?
It's such a good question because I think we've talked many times before. Josh covers up for so many mistakes, and those mistakes aren't just in the field. Those mistakes are in the draft room and during the free agency period. Because one thing that the commentator said numerous times, Allen has all day to throw. And he still had to scramble around because nobody got open. And because as you said, the guys that we have, they cannot get open. Like historically, you look at in this, this isn't us making up numbers. You look historically in terms of yards of separation, and Josh operates with a bottom 3, right? It's between negative point something and 0.5. It's just they get next to no separation, and Allen is still awesome. And so getting back to what you said, that comes down to Bean. How many first and second round picks, third round picks has he missed on? Right? Many. How many free agents do we have that don't do anything? Many. And it just, Like, because I mean, even Keon, right? Sure, he had a couple of nice plays, but I mean, that fumble, an absolute killer, right? That play for which he didn't either read the defense the way Josh did, or he ran the wrong route, but it was sort of like a comeback or a Keon. He should I don't know, just like the ball essentially hit him in the shoulder or whatever, and then he was obviously disciplined as well. So it's just like, sure, everyone loves him. He's all goofy or whatever. I see him, and if Keon ever sees this, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm just telling you how I feel. I just see him as just this bumbling. I'm not going to call him an idiot. He's not an idiot, but it's just like he's a big, he's athletic, but is he completely bought in? Right? Like, how much time is he actually spending in his playbook? Like, how much because he has the physical tools, it just doesn't show up on Sundays. And so, the offense is not without blame, but it's just the flipping turnovers this week, and then no separation. So sorry, take it back to your original question. Yes, Bean deserves blame. However, I don't think he's going to get any, because Josh will cover it up, because how can you blame the GM when you win 13 to 14 games a year?
Yeah. And I brought that question up because I saw on X today. I don't watch hockey. I watch the Lightning, but Sabres fans are like, the Bills are the Sabres are the Bills minus Josh Allen.
Yeah.
You look at how the other franchises run, like they can't get out of their own way. And I think if let's say they took Josh Rosen instead of Josh Allen, this franchise is nowhere near nobody cares about us.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh masked everything. And that's great in the sense of the Bills are never going to be awful unless he gets hurt. But at the same time, like you said, it's going to take some cojones by our owners, the Bagulas, to be like, all right, at some point, this being who we are right now isn't good enough. And I constantly think of the Buccaneers when, they were a terrible franchise, and all of a sudden they get Tony Dungy. They're in the NFC Championship game. They're one of the best teams, but they couldn't get over the hump. And they do the unthinkable. They get rid of Tony Dungy, who had never had bad season. And they bring in John Gruden and win a Super Bowl. And then I think of the Bengals, who how many years in a row, the Bengals are awful, and then they get Marvin Lewis. And they're content. All right, we keep making the playoffs. They don't make a change, and then just all AJ Green, Andy Dalton, them, they're just wasted there. So I think those are two extremes. The Bills are right now going towards a better version. They win at least a couple playoff games. The Bengals never did. But it's the same principle of the Pagula saying they're just happy to be relevant. Whereas the Bucs are we're going all in to get a Super Bowl. Sorry, Tony. You just haven't done enough for us. I'd rather the Bills do that. Go get rid of McDermott, go in and trade 4 first-round picks for Sean McVay. Do something crazy like that to get somebody in here to change it. Because the worst thing I think is if we just stick with McDermott and being through this whole thing, Josh retires without ever winning one or even making one. That's going to be the biggest waste of a career I can think of.
Yeah, the guy that I think of is Shanahan. Right? You think look at the quarterbacks he has to work with, and every single one he's had has looked awesome.
Yeah.
Right. At this point, it's not a coincidence, right? Mac Jones isn't not Mac Jones. Brock Purdy isn't the second coming of Joe Montana, right? If you put Brock Purdy in any other offense other than maybe the Rams, he's awful. And so, I completely agree. I couldn't be any more frustrated with the coaching staff, because in the past, coaching staff has cost us games. McDermott has cost us playoff games, and the number of ill-advised timeouts he's called, and the number he is the number, he is dead last, and the winning challenges, and he doesn't challenge times where he should, where it's clear, and he would obviously win it. Good dude, good Christian guy, but at the end of the day, yeah, I'm with you 100%. If they cannot make a Super Bowl this year, if I'm Pagula, I'd say, Sean, thank you for your service.
Especially with his look at what the other contenders in the AFC are doing right now. The Ravens are 1-4. The Chiefs are 2-3. The Texans are 2-3.
The Bengals are
traded for Joe Flacco. That's how desperate they are.
Mm-hmm.
So this has got to be the Bills' year. But as of right now, he wouldn't even have a 1 seed.
Colts. Daniel Jones.
Everyone's talking about how the Colts are going. I don't think the Colts are going to fall back terribly far. They have a great running game, a good defense, and a quarterback who's playing
within his limits.
Yeah.
So
I keep seeing things like, oh, the Colts are just going to what makes you think that? They're in a terrible division.
Yeah.
They have they've got the last place schedule. So I mean, I don't see that. The Bills are. This will be every year. The Bills have a game man, we should have won that game. This Patriots one might be that one that cost the Bills a 1 seed again.
Wouldn't that be wild?
Yeah, the 1 year Kansas City and Baltimore will suck, and somebody like Jacksonville or the Colts get the number 1 pick. That would be insane.
Yeah.
But yeah. Looking forward, obviously the sky hasn't fallen, but there's lots of things that I think need to be addressed, and I hope. And you already saw 2 trades today of teams trading for players.
Mm-hmm.
The Chargers and Ravens made a trade. Ravens got a safety. Chargers got a pass rusher. Flacco got traded to the Bengals. Last week, you saw an offensive tackle go to the Browns. So it's there. The Bills have got to do something, and it's very, like you said, very clear. Cornerback is a desperate need. Safety is a need if they're willing to bench somebody. And if Milano's hurt, do we want to have, after watching Dorian Williams against the Saints get just roasted by Spencer Rattler? I'm not a big fan of him. So the Bills had to make 1 positional trade.
Yeah.
What would that position be? They only can make 1. What's the position?
My God, it's definitely on defense, that's for sure. Well, I mean, is it on defense? Because on the flip side, somebody who can get open, right? You know what?
I don't think the Bills are 1 defensive player away from being fixed.
No.
So I think you're right of let's go make the offense better, because they're the only things that's going to bring the Bills where they want to go.
Yeah. Because you're right. I do think one elite receiver could make all the world of difference, because we already have the quarterback and the running back and our tight end. I mean, Kincaid. I mean, so we didn't talk about anything good. I think Kincaid was a bright spot. He finally, he was the player last night that I envisioned him to be. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, going and getting, and you comes down to who do you get, right? With our cap situation, and there's a lot of football left to play. So who's ready to go and, say, all right, time to fire sale? Because that's the hardest thing, is just trying to figure. Because yeah, I mean, the Bengals are going to suck this year for sure. Is Jamar Chase available? Yeah, obviously no. And so, gosh, it's
Chris Olave is a name I would love to see in Buffalo.
Actually, yeah, that was one that you had mentioned, and yeah, Chris Olave or a Drake London, right? If the Falcons start to fall, and
if the Jets hadn't assigned Garrett Wilson to an extension,
yeah,
minus his contract where they are, I bet you they would have at this point imagine him with a good quarterback. He produces with crap. So, why couldn't the Jets have waited? I bet you they have buyer's remorse. I know, going off topic, I bet you the Jets have buyer's remorse on Sauce Gardner big time.
They sure do, because I know he complained about the refs a few weeks ago, but he's such a handsy receiver that if he's getting called for pass interference, when it usually is, then he sucks, because he can't lay hands on somebody. Kyrie Elam, if they didn't ever call pass interference, he'd been awesome.
Yeah, the rest just hate him because the Bills are winning.
Yeah. And that's I won't go long into this, but watching that game, when I saw Sean Hockley, I said to my wife, I'm like, we're in trouble because I said, I remember this guy not liking us. And I couldn't remember why I knew that until you reminded me of the Eagles game 2 years ago. And it was the exact same thing, a game that we should have won, but it was our most penalized game, like ones that were so ticky-tack of just like, oh my gosh, if you watched the game, you know what I'm talking about. And then my wife told me today that she wrote on Twitter that we're 2-7 in games that he officiates. So that's all I'll say. Okay, they weren't the reason why we lost, because we did plenty of that on our own. But I do think they were a contributing factor in killing certain drives with penalties that most officials aren't calling. And I will also say that they did it to the Patriots too. That play where they called a late hit out of bounds on Shakir, that was not a late hit out of bounds on New England. Okay, it was not. Like, he initiated contact inbounds and just wrote it out. So that crew, two thumbs down, seatbelt, box them.
I think that one they called it on 41, who came over with the dude who was tackling Shakir. He bumped in Shakir already out of bounds. They called it on him, not the guy with the tackle.
But it was still right. I don't like to me, as the Bills fan, I was like, I don't really see that as one. That was a weak call, because yes, every penalty they call by the letter of the law, yes, but like, that's not how football is officiated.
Yeah.
It reminded me almost of that game where the officials talk about where like AI would like carry a lot, and they made a decision of one game they were gonna call it to the letter of the law. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But that's all I'll say. I'm done with the refs.
For those watching and listening, he really held back there from what he wanted to say and had been saying for a few days.
Yeah.
So everyone listening and watching, I think, thanks you for that. But moving on to next week, the last game before the bye, road game at Atlanta on Monday Night Football, the first game of a doubleheader. To me, this game is a game that the team that we think we are, after the loss that they just had, this should be a game where they come out without any lapse, without any, we don't have any sense of urgency. The teams that are like the Bills, who they think they are, come out, and this is where they lay the wood on a team. Like, all right, we just got beat on national TV. We played our worst game offensively. Sorry, Atlanta, you're getting BTA right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, BTA. Okay, I got it. Yes. No. That's what I expect. I expect the offense to come out firing. It's, not that I think players need to, find motivation, but I've heard anyway, or at least like you read things of guys saying that, like the idea of a trap game is real. Because you sort of like look past an opponent. And I think had we won against New England, I could see Atlanta as a trap game because the bye week is right there. But as you said, we just lost. And I think between the coaching staff, Josh, because I feel like few people like to lose as much as that guy. I think, yes, it's going to be very much that. Sure, Atlanta will give us their best shot because we're a lot of people's Super Bowl, but I'm relatively certain it won't be enough. And this is also one of those things for which I can see us continuing to score even when we don't need to.
Yeah, the statement
of just we had an off week, but we're back. Especially have that positive momentum going into the bye week.
But just think about this though. Let's say they lose.
Ugh.
That's going to be 3 weeks between wins. They have the New England loss, this loss, the bye week, then going to Carolina. That's a long time to be stewing about a 2-game losing streak. So I think that's McDermott should be. Hey, we need to go. We have to go in on a positive.
Yeah,
We can't go into the bye on a 2-game losing streak. But we move on. Like we said, you sent it that TikTok video of the Jaguars beating the Chiefs.
That was
Bills
nice.
fans, that was Bills fans looking sick.
Honestly, that was so good. I was so happy. It was like, all right, well, at least Nick Wright can suck it.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch. I'm avoiding sports talk this week, but I would hope that he gave the same sort of energy to his pick six in the end zone as he did Josh's pick in the red zone. I highly doubt he did. He probably had an excuse for it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you watched it. You go ahead.
Well, that's because I watched that play and like it wasn't tipped. It was just oh man, that guy, I didn't anticipate him being there. But then I watched like a TikTok of whatever the show he's on. And it was him talking about like, okay, yeah, they're 2-3, like, but there's always this but, and he like tries to spin it positive. I'm like, only you, man. Like, I get that, like, this is part of your persona, and outside of Kansas City, you and I both agree with almost every one of his takes. Okay, like I agree completely with everything but this, and so I know it's just his like thing, right?
Yeah,
it's so flippin' annoying because Mahomes, regardless of what his stats says, he cost them, right? You can't be going in for a touchdown and then throwing pick six the other way and have the loss not be your fault, because it is, and you were bailed out by the officials twice on top of it.
Did you see last week when Wright unveiled the banner about the tackle that turned the tide?
No.
He did. He said that in the Giants game when Mahomes made the tackle and got the ball back on that turnover he had, that turned the tide of the Chiefs season. But on Twitter last night, after the pick, he dove and missed the tackle. A bunch of people are like, the tackle that didn't turn the tide. And
that's awesome.
So I really hope that like Kevin Wilde or somebody on that show saw that. And really, that was a great chance to like turn it back at Nick. And like, all right, we dropped a banner about the tackle that turned the tide. Boom, here's the banner, the tackle that didn't turn, and just Mahomes diving at his feet and Lloyd just running right by.
Or better yet, the tackle that unturned the tide.
Yeah,
just constant turning of the tide.
But yes, this is what it used to be like as Bills fans. We took pride in other people's losses because we don't win very many games.
Now it's both. But we still hold on to that part of us.
But before we close, I had a Facebook memory. 13 years ago, I made a post on Facebook that asked, I wonder what it's like to be a fan of a good team. We're a good team now, but I also am like, it brings its own separate set of issues. Like I get more mad about crap that I think than I did when we were terrible.
Yeah, it's because we have expectations now. Before we didn't have any expectations.
So just a quick thought about you, because you've been through the same thing as me. Obviously, you want your team to be better, but I want you to think outside of that, just personally for what it does, because I know the game affects us both. Obviously, we want the Bills to win and be good. But aside from that, like, is it better to have the team be mediocre and bad where we don't have the expectation, so it doesn't anger us as much? Or would you take the expectation, the anger that comes with games like the last 3 weeks?
So I can't separate what I'm about to tell you, because I feel as though when I was a younger man, we sucked. And after every loss, which there was a lot of them, I would be furious for days. Like I couldn't sleep. I'd be angry at work. I would just be so mad. Whereas now, like I went to work on Monday, I was totally fine. I got mildly annoyed a little bit when a coworker said, "Hey man, how about them Bills?" And I laid into him a little bit. But other than that, like it was just like it was like whatever. You know what? Like we were never going to win 17 games, right? New England is a decent team. It's a division rival for which they always play you the toughest. And you know what? Things have been worse, right? And so, but I'm also older. And so I don't know if it's part of it just like being aged and realize like there's better things to get upset about, or it's because we're winning. But either way, I'd much rather have it like it is now, because more often than not, I'm going to work talking crap versus getting it, and I would much prefer that. So
Yeah.
the other
I'm
time,
with you. And I'm with you about like back in the day, like it would have, a couple days. But I feel like as I've gotten older, like I give it usually about a half hour to an hour after the game, and then I still think about I'm not going to say I think about the losses still,
sure,
but it doesn't affect anything.
yeah,
Plus, I think my profession helps. Like, I mean, you have adults who talk crap to you. You can give stuff back. I work with kindergarten through fifth graders. If little Johnny, 6-year-old Johnny says, "Hey, coach, the Bills lost," I can't like rip him a new one.
yeah.
So I'd be like, "Yeah, we sucked." But I mean, I think that kind of helps. But like, age comes like there's a lot more to get angry about. But at the same time, I don't ever want to lose that passion where I get pissed off, because then at that point, like, am I even a football fan?
Yeah, I can tell you the last time that I got like, and I will never forget. So it was the Jets game that Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and yet we still lost. And I remember that one in particular because I had the only time I've ever had a Jets fan in my class. Like, he was very an avid Jets fan, and he from New York and all this stuff. And so I remember parking my car and I'm walking into work, and I was still seething because I had to go and like teach soon after. And I was prepared to lose my job that day. Like, I was like, you know what? I hope he says something. I hope he says something, because I am done. I am going to lose it. And thank God for me, he didn't say anything. He just gave me a head nod and went and sat down, and that was that.
He knew.
Like that was the last time I've been like just irrationally upset about a Bills loss.
Yeah, well, it was late at night too. I didn't have much time to process before the next day.
Yeah.
Now I'm dreading tomorrow. I have one family member who drops their kid off and is a Patriots fan. And last week she's like, "All right, we'll see you next Wednesday." I'm like, "Yep, tomorrow's Wednesday. I get to see that Patriots fan." So, and then her son today was like, "Hey, coach, you know the Bills lost to the Patriots?" I'm like, "Yep, I know." So I'm looking forward to that conversation with that mom tomorrow. I'm sure she'll be like, "Hey, how about them Bills?"
I mean, be bringing a brick and busting out her back window.
Oh, she has a Jeep.
Whatever. It's those windows.
I don't think she does. But anyway, that's our show. Before we close it, quick prediction for Monday night.
Bills 45, Falcons 28.
High scoring game. I'll say the Bills win. I won't say by how much. But I do think Josh has one of those signature, like 4 or 5 touchdown type games.
Yeah.
And I think Cook comes back with a vengeance after kind of a lackluster, not high use game for us. So that's our show for the week, everybody. The 4-on-1 Bills. We are SNS Bills Talk with Come On In Sports on the Come On In Sports Network. We thank everybody for hanging out with us again this week. Follow and like us on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. We're on it across all things. And we close things out like we always, Josh Allen always does, by saying, "Go Bills."
Bills.